end of October and it's quite dry. We've had a lot of rain here over the past few weeks, so I'm just going to go and get some hawthorn berries from my garden. Got a few other jobs to do. I said I would get some feverfew, a root for a friend of mine who I gave some dried feverfew for migraines. Might try a few more of that because it's flowering beautifully and there's lots of healthy leaves. There's loads of fresh nettles at the minute, so I'm going to stock up on my nettle tips for the winter and just see what's out and about. So this is feverfew, and this stuff is really great for headaches and migraines, particularly if they're menstrual related, but you can take it anyway as a preventative measure for migraines. It won't alleviate the pain when you actually have a headache, but if you take this as a tincture or a supplement of somehow or a tea regularly, you can try to keep the migraines at bay. It's been proven really effective actually. There's been lots of research into it, so that is what I am going to be looking at and drying in a moment, and I'm going to find a nice root of it because I have got tons of this stuff everywhere. Once it is in your garden, it crops up everywhere. I'm going to find a nice root of it for a friend of mine who does suffer with migraines occasionally. So traditionally the leaves are used on the feverfew plant, but I always use the flowers as well because I do believe there's a lot of goodness in them, and there's also a lot of research at the minute about the actual flowers in all herbs really having very beneficial properties in them. And when you think of calendula, that's very true of that particular variety, so I don't think it's a daft idea to use the flowers as well. In fact, many herbalists do. But aren't these just so pretty? I know I've talked about these before on my Instagram page, on an Instagram story, but they're just gorgeous. If you were getting married, because these come up in the summer as well, this is a second bloom, but if you were getting married and having quite a natural outside-y style wedding, I think these would just be beautiful as a nice bouquet. So I'm not going to put these in my herb dryer. I'm going to hang them upside down in the house somewhere. They do stink actually. The smell is not pleasant. It's quite a strong smell. So I'm not going to put it anywhere where my other half would complain about it. But they do look so pretty as they're drying upside down. So the smell is quite pungent if I put them in the dehydrator. So that's what I'm going to do with these. And then once they're nice and dry and brittle, then you just hold them upside down and strip off the leaves. Put them in a jar, and then you can do whatever you like with them. You can make tinctures or teas or honeys. The choice is yours. So I've just moved along down to this nettle patch, and you see that the ones I'm after have the seeds on them. There's a little bug on that, which I'll get off in a minute. But the seeds on nettles are really good for purifying your kidney area, and a really good tonic for cats actually, who tend to suffer with kidney problems. And speaking of which, here's beautiful Evangeline, just exploring our rubble pile. When I dry these, I'll be getting the seeds off of these. I'm jarring those separately, and then I can just sprinkle a few on her cat food, and there'll be a really good tonic, especially my cat who doesn't drink a lot, so I do worry about her and her kidneys. But it's also a really good thing for us all to have. You can put them on your breakfast cereal and you won't even notice that they're there. Or you can just sprinkle them in your soups or your food, and you've got a really good kidney cleansing and kidney nurturing tonic. Well, there's loads of nettles in my garden at the minute, partly because we're having an extension done, so the garden is basically gone to rack and ruin. But I actually get quite excited about this because I use them a lot, and they're definitely plentiful. So what I wanted to show you was this top section of the nettle. I'll take it off to about here, and yes, it is a stinging nettle, and no, I'm not being stung. The weird thing about nettles is that if you pick them up with the intention of touching them, then you won't get stung. Now, if you do get stung, then don't blame me. However, it's when you brush against them. I've got yellow fingers because I've been using turmeric, fresh turmeric this morning. I definitely don't smoke. But when you pick them with intention, you should be okay. It's just when you brush past them and the little hairs will get you. So, oh, totally no sting at all. So October you get a fresh top section on your nettles. It's the time in England to go out and get this second batch. I'm just popping them straight into my dehydrator here. Over here I have some nasturtiums. Hang on, get the camera right. I haven't turned the viewing angle round. So I need to get out here and get these, but I haven't got any vinegar to put them in yet, which is what I want them for. So I don't want to pick them just yet because they'll go off. But nasturtiums are really good in a vinegar. You can pickle them, you can put their little seeds in, you can use the leaves. Check for creepy crawlies underneath them though, because these are the prime target leaves for tortoiseshell butterflies. So in the summer, when the first leaves come up and the first flowers, they get absolutely eaten to death, and all I have left is a skeleton of the leaf. But then at this time of year, after the caterpillars have sort of had their fill and gone off and turned into butterflies, we get a second crop, and now's the time that I get to enjoy them. So you can do all sorts with these. You can do pestos with the leaves, which I haven't done, but I'm going to investigate them a little further this year. But I just love, I'm just going to turn the camera around so you can see this. I just love the way that the water droplets sit on these big satellite leaves and look like little diamonds. They are so pretty. And if you grow lady's mantle in your garden, you'll know that that happens with that as well. It's just beautiful. And with lady's mantle, you're supposed to drink the dew that gathers on them. It's supposed to be a very good elixir for you. Hey Evangeline! Exploring the bonfire pile now. You like all the rubbish, dirty bits, don't you? Our pond in our garden, it's actually a natural pond. This goes up and down with the water table, and it is really quite full at the moment. There's been a lot of flooding around us. We've had so much rain, and this was dried out. I could literally just walk through this not long ago. Got a whole heap of irises in the middle that I really need to thin out at some point, but it's like gardening in a bog. I'm really not looking forward to that and keep putting it off year upon year. But yeah, should have a few frogs in there at the moment. Behind me, my garden's perimeter is just a mass of huge, at least 20 feet high hawthorn, which I love because to me, like you have a totem animal, I'd say my totem tree or plant is hawthorn. I love it for so many reasons, and it is absolutely full of berries. However, I have had to climb up, so I'm not going to film getting these. I'll quickly show you a load, and then I'll come back to you once they're in the pot, because I'm balancing quite precariously at the minute. So here they are, absolutely everywhere. So I've just let my chickens out. And I noticed whilst I was here in the field at the back, it's really early and the light's still quite low. There's a lot of activity on all the old ragwort that's gone to seed. If we sit quietly enough, you'll see all the goldfinches just fluttering around on it. So I'll try and get closer. I'll zoom in. Can you see them there? Sitting on top. See them sitting on top and eating all the seeds. It's covered in goldfinches. Someone else who's been watching them. Thankfully, this little one has not caught a bird yet. We do wear a bell on our collar. She'll happily sit here and watch them though. Now's the time in the UK for an abundant and plethora of different varieties of fungi. I've just come across this one on an old log in my garden, and they feel quite velvet-like and really quite pleasant to touch. Hello, you've come to have a look. I don't think you should eat it. But yesterday, little one and I went on a lovely walk, and I don't know why I didn't video them, but I got some pictures of the most amazing red toadstools, fairy style house toadstools. I'll show you a few photographs of them. It's Halloween. And we've gone for our October nature walk, and we've discovered a lake right on our doorstep that's really pretty, which I'm just going to show you, and we'll see what we can find along here along the way. Look at this. I can't believe this has been literally about 2 miles away from where I live, and I never even knew about it. There's some chaps fishing down there. But it's a gorgeous autumn day today on Samhain or Halloween. I love how the blue sky is reflecting in the water. It doesn't look that blue on the video, but here we go. Let's have a little walk. I just love this dappled sunshine you get at this time of year as it pops through the leaves of the trees. We've just found this little babbling brook, and Bella's gone to find some sticks to play poo sticks. But she's got a little bit distracted because she's found a hawthorn bush, and she does like to eat the hawthorn berries, does Bella. And they are very safe to eat, and if you get, some of these look a bit brown actually, Bella, make sure you just get the ruby red ones, okay? If you do get a nice ruby red one, these are really quite large. Ooh, there's a big spider dangling on in front of me. You get a nice ruby red one, and you can nibble around the outside, and there's a seed in the middle. You see this seed? Hang on. There, it's there, look. Don't eat the seed. Flick that one out for the birds or to set a new tree. But you can quite happily eat the rest of it, and I think it tastes a bit like a rosy apple. It has that kind of fluffy consistency, and it tastes like a red-skinned apple. But you're a big fan, aren't you? You like to spit the seeds. Cheeky. Here we are under a lovely oak tree, and oak doesn't always go the lovely orangey tones that you see on many of the birch trees or the bright yellows that you get in the maples, but this one's quite pretty. I've got a red oak in my garden that's only just a sapling that looks quite pretty. And we've had a real shortage of acorns, Bella and I, this year when we've been out and about. I think the squirrels got to them early this year. These are funny little oak fruits. Not the usual sort. Shall have to look those up when I get back. What have you found?
Blackberries, but I just want to eat them straight off the plant, even if they're red.
It's like the last throws of the fruits are throwing a few fruits out now, but I don't think they're going to go black. Just make sure that they're not too green, okay? Oh my word, this holly tree is so tall. It's absolutely huge. Not a berry on sight, so I think this would be the male holly tree.
This isn't a holly tree.
Yeah,
Look
some
at the
of the
leaves.
holly trees have quite a smooth edge. There's lots of different varieties
Oh
of
yeah,
holly.
it's a holly tree.
And actually, as they grow older, they'll get the prickly bits. We were den building the other day in Sherwood Forest, but actually this holly tree would be amazing for Robin Hood. He would be able to shelter under here quite well. It's beautiful, and the size of this trunk. This holly tree is probably the biggest holly tree that I've seen. All the silver birch around here is really turning beautiful and yellow, just beginning to come off now. All the bracken is dying off now. This will be shooting up early February time and unfolding in tiny little springs out of the earth. A lovely bright vibrant green. I love the energy and the feeling that the broadleaf and the silver birch trees give to an area. We have a lot of pine forests around here, so it's quite nice to be in more of a hardwood woodland. This beautiful old ash has gone lovely and yellow, and it's behaving almost willow-like and trying to skirt the water with its elegant dangling boughs. Something we like to do at this time of year is go seed spotting and see how everything's changed. So this would have been a lovely thistle bush. It would have been full with bees and butterflies and flies and insects. And now it's drooping its head over to drop its seeds, which have mostly all gone. I'm going to show you some of the pictures of various different seeds we've photographed over the last few days. We're being quiet because the fishermen are right behind us, but here is a female hollybush, absolutely laden with beautiful red berries. But Bella, what do we know about these berries? They are
poisonous.
They are poisonous. You must never touch.
No.
Hello, we're back home and I'm just about to make a nice cup of the pine needle tea with the Scots pine that we found while we're out and about. Still in a state of disarray. The extension is still happening, so I'm still in this kind of makeshift kitchen in the lounge. That's why there's stuff everywhere. But we're getting there. We have some central heating now in there, so that's good. But anyway, I was going to just pick all this off and put it in my teapot, but actually I'm just going to shove the whole lot in. There's nothing on there that is harmful at all. A few cobwebs on that bit, which we don't need. So have a quick scout over it for insects. I don't ever bother rinsing anything. If I know there's no insects on it, I don't rinse it, because plants will have certain phytochemicals on the surface to deter molds and to deter yeasts and to deter certain insects and parasites, and those phytochemicals that do that are really good for you. So when you wash that off the surface of the plants and the skins of the fruits, then you're not getting that goodness. So as long as your plant hasn't got any creepy crawlies or insects, or that it's not been sprayed, you won't want to pick that anyway. Then you can just shove it in. So I'm just going to put the whole lot in my teapot like so, and this water in the kettle has been boiled about 5 minutes now, because I don't want to put freshly boiled water into the teapot, because there's a really high vitamin C content in pine needles, so much so that it was known as the tree of life in the days where ships and their crews got scurvy. There was a guy whose name I really can't remember, but back in the 1500s his whole crew got scurvy, and they were cured with vats and vats of boiled pine needles. And whilst the boiling would have destroyed a lot of the vitamin C, there was still enough ascorbic acid and proteins to cure them. So really high vitamin C content, full of antioxidants, so great for clearing out anything that shouldn't be in there in the body and all those free radicals. And it's really good for cardiovascular health, and it has links to being a good antidepressant. And also, pine has lots of antimicrobial properties and antibacterial properties, so it's a really good tonic to ingest and take down your digestive tract and into your stomach on the whole. So I'm just going to pour this in. And I'm just going to leave that to stew for a little bit. A few needles there that dropped off. Pop the lid on. I'm going to have a taste of it when it's ready and see how it feels. I might add a little honey. I might add a little mint. My sister told me recently that she tried some really nice tea bags of pine needle, and mint seemed to complement it quite well.